What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chi with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's largest semiconductor industry event, Semicon, is kicking off in Taipei. It's bringing in officials and tech executives from around the globe, with the hype juicing Taiwan's stock market. Chris Gorin was at the event's opening.
One of the biggest chip industry shows in the world, Semicon, has opened in Taipei today, and organizers say it's drawing the biggest crowds of its 30-year history. The event will see showcases from more than 1,200 companies across 56 countries, with more than 100,000 visitors expected. It follows 2 days of pre-events that seem to have hyped up the market, with Taiwan's main stock index reaching a new high this morning, led by semiconductor companies. At the opening ceremony, Taiwan's premier emphasized the show's theme of global collaboration and Taiwan as a reliable partner in the global supply chain.
全世界正面临一个关税新秩序的谈判过程，台湾速度比较慢，跟大家都有关系，因为我们还要面临一个232比较复杂的谈判过程。不过我们认为，基于台湾过去跟台美之间的合作关系，以及各位业界所展现出来在全世界的重要性，我们越被重视，我们越被会合理的一个关税的对待。
While the industry group hosting Semicon downplayed geopolitical and trade tensions.
Again, let's not get bogged down with the geopolitical issues. They will come, they will change, they will get settled. But let's keep focus on what our destiny is, what our strategy is, and just keep going that direction and keep on doing, because we cannot slow down.
The show continues through Friday and will include panels and talks from tech executives on topics from sustainability to women in tech. Now, Semicon is ultimately a business show, and with so many global companies here, we may see some big deals announced over the next few days. Alex Chun and Chris Gorin in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
One of the main themes of this year's Semicon is women's empowerment. So how are women breaking barriers in the tech industry? Our reporter Aichi sat down with Olivia Liao, Vice President of United Microelectronics, one of Taiwan's top chip makers, to find out.
You've been working in semiconductors for nearly 2 decades. Before your current role at UMC, you were the first female chair of Taiwan's operation of Rome, a leading Japanese chip company. Could you share some of the challenges you have faced as a woman in this industry and how you overcame them?
我觉得如果回顾我这么多年的工作经验，我觉得唯一一个会让我感受到性别这件事情的压力跟挫折，应该是来自于生育。那特别是我有生了3个小孩，那这段时间又比别人长。比如说我在最忙的时候，1个月要出差2到3次。那时候跟我一样位置也是董事长的男性，他就问我说：“哎，你这么常出差，难道你先生不会生气吗？”当我听到这个问题的时候，我感觉很奇怪，我就回问他说：“哎，你这么常出差，你太太不会生气吗？”所以就是说，外在的人对于整个女性，她是有特别严格的一个期待。那我自己很幸运，就是我的先生是跟我一起支撑这个家庭，然后让我们在整个工作上面也都要有一个平衡这样。
While Taiwan's tech industry has been making efforts to promote workplace diversity, surveys show that a gender gap remains, with men accounting for 95% of senior executives. In your opinion, in a field traditionally dominated by men, what unique perspectives or strengths does female leadership bring to this industry?
我觉得可能这个在科技业就比较明显，因为我们大部分都是男性，然后他们大部分对于就是比较核心的技术都是很了解，但是我们女性大部分都是文科，我们在这里面其实常常都需要去懂一些我们其实很像天书一样的一些技术。可是女性就是我们碰到的时候，我自己观察到的状况是，如果男性对男性的时候，好像大家就会比较硬碰硬，然后不会的好像比较有面子，就会装懂，然后就结束。但是女性来讲，我们就会比较，我自己就比较不耻下问，人家也会很乐意的告诉你说啊，其实这是这么一回事，那就会比较容易破冰，然后在这件事情上来讲就比较容易解决。
Can you share any advice you have for people with similar backgrounds who are interested in working in semiconductors or tech? What abilities or qualities would you say are essential to thrive and lead in this field?
其实科技业不是像大家想象这么有趣，所以你如果要投入这个行业，第一个你要有好奇心，就是你要能够知道这个，比如说晶圆是怎么样制造啊，然后几奈米到底是在讲什么，这些东西可能要有基本知识，那你就要有好奇心。第二个你要有热情，就是说你要对于你去参与的这个领域你是喜欢的，那这样你就会工作起来很开心，你就会有兴趣去了解更多，然后就会有更多的学习跟成长。我一开始很年轻的时候是一个就是会希望跟属下做好朋友的主管，后来发现我觉得这样很累，后来我就调整我自己的管理风格。我觉得我现在应该是属于一个比较严格的主管，但我有一个原则，就是我不会帮下属做事情。even 我有一个答案了，我都会等到他把东西做完之后，我再看一次。
就让他自己要自己经历自己成长，这样子的感觉。
对。
How do you work to empower other women through your role at UMC?
我觉得我最可以让大家被影响到或者是感动到的，应该是我有生3个小孩，还继续在工作，还是一样可以爬到这个位置。所以说，生育这件事情，它不是会让你的机会消失，它只是会短暂的，就是让你停止一下，往前跑。但是那是另外一个体验跟另外一个喜悦。
That was Olivia Liao from United Microelectronics Corporation. Taiwan is condemning what it calls a dangerous maneuver by China's Air Force as reports surface that Chinese warplanes flew close to a Taiwanese medical flight in June. The plane was flying from Taidong in eastern Taiwan to the outlying Jingmen Islands when 2 Chinese jets reportedly came close enough to be seen by the flight crew. The flight company says there was still some distance between them, but the Mainland Affairs Council, which governs relations with China, says the maneuver shows Beijing's disregard for human life. It also says it highlights China's growing military pressure on Taiwan.
那如果说没有什么反应，可能下一次他就软土深掘，然后采取更进一步的行动。那我觉得未来应该采取这个更严密的监控，就是我们如果说有这种医疗专机准备要飞行，其实就要研判中共可能采取一些骚扰的行动。
China regularly sends military aircraft into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. Taiwan's defense ministry monitored 13 such jets around the country in the 24 hours up to Wednesday morning. A bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers is set to visit China later this month. The U.S. House of Representatives delegation will be led by Democrat Adam Smith. It comes shortly after China unveiled its latest advanced weapons at a massive military parade in Beijing and as trade negotiations between the two countries continue. It would be the first House delegation to China since 2019. It is not yet clear if they will meet with President Xi Jinping. Poland says it shot down Russian drones in its airspace, its first direct military engagement with Russia since the invasion of Ukraine. In a post on X, Poland's military said the drones entered its territory while targeting Ukraine, and that Polish and Allied air defenses brought them down. Residents in several regions were told to stay indoors, and 4 airports were reportedly closed. The military has called the violation of its airspace an act of aggression. Hamas says 5 of its members were killed in an Israeli strike on a residential compound in Qatar, but that its negotiating team survived. The attack has drawn international backlash as the war in Gaza rages on. John Van Triest reports.
Smoke pours from a compound in Doha, Qatar, hit by an Israeli airstrike. Hamas negotiators had been meeting inside to discuss a U.S. proposal for a Gaza ceasefire. The strike killed 5 Hamas members and 1 member of Qatar's security forces. But the Palestinian group says Israel's attempt to wipe out the negotiating team failed. Qatar is angry. It's positioned itself as a mediator, a safe place where enemies like Hamas and Israel can sit down and talk. That's something the country says it will continue to be despite the Israeli strike. But Qatar's prime minister has made his country's anger clear, calling out Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by name.
The Israeli attack that took place today on Qatari soil, we cannot call it anything other than state terrorism carried out by Netanyahu as part of his systematic policies and ongoing attempts that have destabilized regional security and stability. It is simply a clear message to the region as a whole. And this message says that there is a rogue player in this region and ongoing political recklessness that has encroached upon the sovereignty of states. Netanyahu himself declared that he would reshape the Middle East. Does this message mean that he intends to reshape the Gulf as well?
But Netanyahu says Hamas is paying the price for its October 2023 attacks in Israel, in which it killed over 1,000 people and took over 200 hostages.
They perpetrated the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Now, they were meeting in the same place, exactly the same place, where they celebrated this savagery almost 2 years ago. At the beginning of the war, I promised that Israel would reach those who perpetrated this horror. And today, Israel and I have kept that promise.
It's not just Qatar that's enraged by the Israeli strike, though. A stream of world leaders has condemned it in social media posts. And U.S. President Donald Trump is among those who are displeased. The U.S. is a key ally of both Israel and Qatar, but the U.S. says it didn't get enough advance notice of the strike to warn Qatar in time. Trump has hoped for a negotiated settlement to the Israel-Hamas war. The chances of that are now up in the air.
I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this. I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
All this international backlash hasn't slowed down Israel's war plans in Gaza. Israel ordered the full evacuation of Gaza City Monday, with Netanyahu saying this is just the prelude to what he called an intensified ground maneuver. Nearly 2 years in, the war in Gaza shows no signs of a settlement. Scott Huang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A large fire broke out on Tuesday night at Kaohsiung Xingda power plant. There were no reported injuries, but locals are demanding answers. Around 8 p.m., residents reported large explosions and bright flames engulfing the plant. Firefighters at the scene put out the blaze within half an hour. State-run Taipower said the fire likely occurred from a leak during testing of its new natural gas unit. But some residents reported smelling a strange odor earlier that afternoon. A full investigation is underway. Taiwan's finance ministry says the country's exports have surpassed South Korea's for the first time. Taiwan's exports reached nearly $58.5 billion in August, a more than 34% increase from the same month last year. Taiwan's finance ministry attributed the growth to strong demand for high-end semiconductors amid the global AI boom, while South Korea's exports fell due to Chinese overcapacity. The ministry says Taiwan's total exports this year could reach $600 billion. Taiwan beat Germany at the 2025 Under-18 Baseball World Cup in Okinawa. The team won 8-4 on Tuesday, securing its fourth group stage victory. The game was tied 4-4 before heading into extra innings, where Taiwan broke away with 4 runs to seal the win. The Taiwan team will face South Korea in its first Super Round matchup on Thursday. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow us on social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, check out these traditional gondolas and other boats taking part in Venice's annual historical regatta. I'm Sani Chi. Take care and see you next time.